Our Meadowlark Browns correspondent has landed for the big Casey Keenum Thursday night game. Attrition has hit the NFL.
You call him Casey Keenum?
Case Keenum. I'm sorry. It should be Casey.
That's $10.
That's a fine.
Close. No. Close personal friends call him Casey. Casey, come here, baby.
That's his hockey name.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he played in the NHL, people would call him Casey.
That is $5. I'm sorry that
Casey
I
or
made him.
Keeney?
Casey Keenum. That is something that Stugotz would have pivoted to. Where is Stugotz, Mike? I just got a text from you that felt like it was filled with lies. Now he's not coming in and is in Colorado and was going to come in by Zoom for an hour.
Poor Billy.
What are the lies now with Stugotz?
So, in order to sift through this, what Stugotz is suggesting was that he was planning on coming in on today's show, which I don't believe from the get-go, not when the Dead are playing Red Rocks. But he says he ran into some personal issues that prevent him from joining today's show. He's like, I could maybe join the show via Zoom. This is one of those situations, Dan, where he didn't book a return flight, and this was the plan from day one. So he's just a liar.
Yeah, I spoke to Billy yesterday about recording for later in the week for God Bless Football, for all the things that Stugotz has got to do. And he said, I've got Mike Golick, I've got Chris Sims, but I don't have my host. And it's like, and he's like, well, then I heard he's in Colorado, and then I Googled it, and the Dead are there, and that's about all you need to know.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. So we'll see what kind of show we put together for you tomorrow, as this is why Billy didn't want to produce that podcast, is because already we're a few weeks in, and he is difficult to wrangle, filled with lies. And
have your guests, but not your hosts, is quite something.
And it's right on brand. Right on, and we'll ask for a raise when he gets back and more time off, and we'll continue to spew.
Well, it's unlimited time off, Dan. Company policy.
Spew lies.
Damn straight.
And get some profit. Let's rehash what just happened here with David Sampson and all of us, because I understand why it is that anybody listening to this would be made uncomfortable by how coldly cutthroat and corporate all of this feels. The sacrificing of moralities with the permission of men and cavemen and fans and customers to make women not feel very good about this. And furthermore, having talked to Roy during the break, he's like, and Kaepernick is not allowed to play. Kaepernick's career is over, and these are both black quarterbacks. It's sort of what Chappelle was trying to do in that special, saying, and everyone cuts the line in front of my people.
Yeah, in the height of the whole Kaepernick situation, the reason why he's not down here is not just because of the protest, but because he wore a shirt with Malcolm X and Fidel Castro, so they decided not to sign him in favor of Jay Cutler.
And so what are the Dolphins telling their black fans? What are the Dolphins telling their female fans? And what are men who are supporting this telling everybody about, we do not care? Get us a quarterback. Please, we've had 20 years of Chris Whittingham has grown up a Dolphin fan and doesn't know what it's like to have a quarterback. Still doesn't know about Tua, 11 games in. Just last week spit at us, enough with Tannehill. Just out of nowhere, post-traumatic stress disorder, just yelled at us. Tannehill's been gone for years. He's a Titan, and he just yelled at us.
Leads the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks, and I'm like, I'm not having it. He stinks.
Enough with Tannehill. And so you've got a particular fan base making a particular compromise on its principles that should be offensive to all of us, but will get dismissed by Aaron Rodgers as woke culture, cancel culture, and extra sensitivities, when how much more overt does it need to be made that the entire NFL is sort of sitting out Deshaun Watson? The Texans have thrown away a season because, we can't play him. But the Dolphins might be willing to get in that game. Like, it really is a question. And here's the part that's tricky for me, Jessica, because I thought this conversation was fascinating off air as you were having it with Mike Ryan, just all of the permutations of this. I can't believe that all of these things have arrived at this intersection, and what ends up happening to you is that it becomes unpleasant to just sort of wave a flag in front of it and be like, hey guys, this doesn't feel very good, right? It doesn't feel right to just keep compromising the principles because of the position, your position because of that position.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think what I am saying is that controversial. Like, there's 23 credible accusations of misconduct on this player. So trading for him right now, when that is still up in the air, is a bad look.
And you would prefer that football fans across America, people across America, say, I don't want to root for this. I will not give the Dolphins any more of my dollars. I will disavow my allegiance, and I am washing my hands of it. But it's unfortunately not that simple. Now, I do not want the Dolphins to trade for Deshaun Watson. Now, or frankly, ever, as desperate as I am to have a good quarterback for my football team, I find these accusations to paint him in a light where I find him to be a despicable person. However, I don't know if the Dolphins did trade for him, if in a year, 3 years, 7 years, if eventually I'd get over it. Because the unfortunate thing about some of these people being unrelenting in the NFL, where it's just Tyreek Hill is just in the league, Adrian Peterson was just in the league, you eventually, over the course of a certain amount of time, just get over it. The league, you can't sustain a loathing of a player for long enough because he's just there. So what? I'm the only one that's going to sit this out. No one else is sitting. Why am I the only one that's sitting this out? And eventually, fans relent on their morals.
Chris, let me ask you a question. What's something that you said, I'm out on it, and have never been back? And actually, this question is for everybody. What's something that you've legit canceled out of your life? I'll go first to give an example. R. Kelly doesn't get plays anymore.
Michael Jackson doesn't get plays for me either. I'm completely out on him. I don't want that anywhere. I don't watch Kevin Spacey movies. You actually had a good conversation on Cinephile about this, which I was listening to this morning, about some of the people. Tom Cruise was Adnan's example. Yeah. He doesn't support anything Tom Cruise does because of the Scientology, reporting that's been done. So yeah, I mean, there are things in my life, but I don't know if the Dolphins is one of them. Like part of the frustration that we talk about with me and the Dolphins, they're my first sports love. Like I went to a Dolphins game at 8 years old to go see them get killed by the Ravens in a playoff game. And it was like going to Disney World. It was more impactful to me than going to Disney World. I love the Dolphins. I want them to be good so bad.
Sad Disney World.
I thought Pro Player Stadium was a cathedral. I really did.
I thought that of the Orange Bowl when the Dolphins originally started playing there. That's exactly the same thing that I thought of the Miami Dolphins watching them in the Orange Bowl. There's something about the imprinting of these organizations as a child that is emotional and generational.
You know how to break that? The easiest way to break that love? Easiest way. Go work for them. That's what happened with, I was the biggest Knick fan in the world. And then I worked there. And I'm like, oh, I can never.
You thought you arrived at Mecca, right? With just a job on the ground level with the Knicks.
Dan, Madison Square Garden was a building I'd only stepped foot in to watch the circus. Because when I was growing up, the Knicks were so good. Getting a ticket, what? No, not even a chance. You have to go to the scalpers outside, 3-4 times face value at one of the most expensive in the league tickets. And so the first Knick game I ever went to was when I worked for the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. I've been to Knick games in other places. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm here, the world's most famous arena. And then a rat scurried by and I said, okay, didn't expect to see that.
I think my point about the NFL in general is just that, like, it doesn't have to be this way. And B, when you're a league that is trying to purport itself as this inclusive, we want female fans, we want LGBTQ fans, we want to hire female coaches, we want to be inclusive of everyone, we want every football is family, like, we're all together, like we want everyone to be a fan of this league. And then you're not going to discipline this player after this happens. You're going to have, I think that their investigation is still ongoing. They tend to take a very long time. But you're essentially kind of like forcing these two clubs to duke it out and kind of figure it out themselves. Like, you can't really have it both ways. You either have to have, either say that you're a league that doesn't give a shit about any of that and let Deshaun Watson play.
Well, but this is where I stand on this one, Jessica, and it's why I never wanted Goodell. I mean, you guys remember this. I was like, he needs to not be in this business of being the iron-fisted guy, but he was rewarded so much for being the guy who was tough on crime in that league. He got to his position of power and money because he cleaned up the league and made it more palatable for America, really punishing these misbehaviors. I would say I'm an absolutist about this. Just make it cold, corporate, honest, with no emotion, and just stay out of the morality business. on all counts. On every count, stay out of it. You're not equipped. Stop telling me, as the conservative NFL corporation that flip-flops when Patrick Mahomes says, hey, you were wrong about Colin Kaepernick, stop being my moral guide on anything.
You guys, part of this conversation is very Pollyannic. They don't do it because they want to be moral authority. They're just seeing where the wind blows and saying, okay, this is where the money is.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Like, they don't want to leave the dollars on the table. They want to appeal to more fans, so more people buy tickets and jerseys and all of that. But
that's the part that's disheartening, right? Like, the idea that the money is in the place of no morality. Like, you're kind of left alone on an island going, where am I as someone who wants to consume something and at least have some connection of, I like these people, I want to root for these people. I also think, Dan, like your point about the morality business, I don't think it's about a morality. It's a workplace thing. If I was accused of all the things that Deshaun Watson's accused of, you'd toss my ass onto Ocean Drive and say, never come here ever again, because that's our workplace. Why, as a workplace, are they not allowed to say, we don't want this in our workplace? Because there's an amount of talent that supersedes.
There are 15 people in the world who can do it.
Woody.
Maybe 7.
Are you saying that there's more than 15 people that can do Chris Whittingham's job? Because I would say that's
Deshaun Watson
not very
would do
nice.
Chris Whittingham's job as well as Whittingham would do Deshaun Watson's job.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Put it on the poll, Cody, at Batard Show. Who would do whose job better? Chris Whittingham as Deshaun Watson's job, or Deshaun Watson's job, or Deshaun Watson trying to do Chris Whittingham's job?
Let me ask a question. Did we do a good job with this conversation? The one that we had with David Sampson?
It was interesting, I thought. I felt bad for Jessica. I don't know how to put her in a better position there. Her social mentions are going to be a dumpster fire because of how we do not treat women well in this space.
Well, it's not just about not treating well. It's that David, I think, more than anyone, has become, I think he might dispute cynical, but it comes off as cynical, which is none of us, none of the 32 owners, none of the 32 presidents, none of the 32 general managers really want to make a moral stance. You're making a stance based off of public pressure. And he's someone who, as you've noted many times, does not care about public pressure. And so I will make the cold-hearted decision. And I just think it comes off poorly to people like, and whenever I've come at him with, hey, what about having a soul and being a person? It's almost like he finds it funny. Like, you find it funny that an old person doesn't care about winning. How cute! And it's like patronizing in a way.
Woody, it's like the scene from Always Sunny where Dennis tells Mac, I've been having feelings. Like I'm a 14-year-old kid or something. And Mac is like, wait, you don't have feelings?
I'm going to tell you a true story. David Sampson's an unusually honest person for someone that is considered dishonest. And he doesn't mind showing you every aspect of his life. But it wasn't but a few years ago that he was leaving a funeral and leaving it like that. What am I feeling? I'm feeling something. I'm like, yeah, it's what people feel at funerals. Yeah. Like, he's made of wires a little bit, and he's been the job for a long time, and he's been coldly the job for a long time in a way that doesn't care about public relations. So the reason he can cut through it that way that you don't hear anywhere else. I have not heard anyone else say, I'd be playing Deshaun Watson right now, and I'd be trading for Deshaun Watson, is because his lead governor is 100%. I'm not in the morals business. I'm in the emotions business that steals the customer's money who thinks I'm in the morals business.
Let me make one clarification on behalf of David Sampson, if I could. You guys say he doesn't care about public pressure. He does if it results in a cratering of money and fan support. Like he cares about it in the most.
But he just did tell you the value of the franchise will not go down.
Well,
he did just tell you that
the opposite would go up.
The bottom line is that these values don't go down, and the bottom line is the bottom line.
I guess the comp I'm thinking about is the Washington football team, where Daniel Snyder dug his heels in as deep as you could ever do it. He had foundation in there, cement, saying, we're never changing the name of this team. But the moment FedEx said, all right, we're out, guess what? They
Yeah.
changed the name of the team.
And it wasn't even about the name of the team. It
Yeah.
was about the workplace scandal that the Washington Post reported on.
But Bezos would buy it for $4 billion right now if Snyder sold it.
But of course, but he wasn't going to sell. And the idea was this was hugely damaging to the revenue, to the bottom line. I think equally so. And this is probably just, where we should be feeling, right? If Deshaun Watson were to come to if Simpson was the president of the Dolphins and he acquired Deshaun Watson, said we're playing him right away, and literally it cratered them financially, I guarantee you he wouldn't be still saying, no, we got to keep playing him.
But it's not going to crater them.
That's the issue.
You don't know that, though. It's 2021, Dan. There's been Me Too has happened in the last 3 years. If I could see a future in which the Dolphins decide to play him and sponsors come forward and they're angry about it. I could see, I went to a Steelers game like maybe 4 years ago where people were protesting Michael Vick playing for the Steelers. This was after he already served time in jail.
And couldn't you also see, as we've talked about all the permutations of this, including a rich white man's toy and mortality, not morality, mortality. Who is less equipped to make the determination on that than 81-year-old white man who has been in power for a long time? This ain't going to crater my shit. I've been here 15 years doing this, and I can't get a quarterback. My business has been undermined because I can never get this quarterback. This quarterback is available only because all this shit is around him, and now I'm putting down my morality in favor of my mortality. Come pick at my games. Go ahead. I don't think you're going to do any damage to my actual brand because I've run this poorly for 15 years, and all it's done is increase in value.
I wanted to hit on Jess's point, though, like the aftermath of Me Too playing a role in this, because she does get called out because Ben Roethlisberger happened before that, and our attitudes have changed, and a lot of things have been revisited. But I think the hope would be that in the aftermath of Me Too, that our perspective would change going forward, right? And so the next time something like this happened, we'd believe women, we would support women, not retroactively going back and relitigating every case of something that happened before that, but going forward, that our perspective would be permanently changed so that when something like this happened, you don't what about what happened in the past. You say, well, now that we know, now that we're more aware of the damage that sexual harassment does to women and how frequently it happens, that we would change permanently going forward.
I also think that every time this conversation comes up and like whether it's a fair point or not, you point out that like, not you, Dan, but like whoever, the audience, Mike, oh, but you're a Steelers fan. Like, how do you blah, blah, blah. Like it in a way puts the onus on me to like justify my actions for the team that I grew up liking when I'm not the one who has committed a crime here. I'm not the one who's being accused of committed a crime. And when you have to constantly put the onus back on women to justify their decisions, that's a really unfair position to put someone in and really doesn't get us anywhere. Like, this is we're having a different conversation right now. Like, I shouldn't have to justify the shitty behavior of men to make myself sleep better at night. I didn't do that shit. It's not on me.
And to be put in the position, right? I hate that she gets put in the position of the whataboutism of Southside Chicago, of her quarterback being the emblem for, oh, wait a minute, Ben already did all of this, and we were less aware because Ben skated. It would have been much worse for Ben if everything that happened with him happened right now.
And if it happened right now, like, I don't know what I would do about it. It happened when I was like in middle school. So what, like, how the hell am I supposed to justify the way that I went forward in my life as like a 12-year-old? It's an absurd argument. And I'm not saying that like, that's what Amin was trying to get at in that segment, but that is what I get on social media. Every time I tweet about the Steelers, every time I talk about Deshaun Watson, every time we have a conversation about this on social media, like, I'm the world's biggest hypocrite for, rooting for a team that has a quarterback who's been accused twice of sexual misconduct.
No, it's a shitty position.
And it's also just a feeling of, you're not better than me. We're all sports fans. We all check our morals at the door. Like that's all. It's just meant to muddy the waters on, you don't make moral decisions. And that means that I don't have to. That means I still get to root for my football team after we've traded for Deshaun Watson, because you still rooted for your football team after we found out about what happened to Ben Roethlisberger. It's a blatant whataboutism.
And Mike Ryan has flown in as our Meadowlark Browns correspondent because he's got a team. I don't know, Kareem Hunt is hurt, right? So he's not even playing in this game. He has his own moral conundrums. Baker Mayfield got caught running away from the police. He's not playing in this game. Case Keenum is playing in this game. I imagine.
Don't forget Odell was on a boat before the playoffs. That's probably the most egregious offense.
Monster.
I should just ask you, put you on the spot, bring you in by saying, would you want Deshaun Watson tonight? But you have been having some interesting conversations with us off the air because I don't like what happens when Jessica is in a position where she is making faces and doesn't actually want to talk because it means she can't go to her social media for 5 days because men are going to be cavemen cruel about what about this hypocrisy? This forgives my lack of morality in this instance.
But I like getting to the truth, and our show also likes getting to the truth. And I understand everywhere where Jess was coming from, and I wanted to have that conversation on the air. It's not a what about when it comes to Ben Roethlisberger, though it feels like that. And I was the one that threw that in the chat, not to catch Jess, although kind of feels like that, especially she internalized it like that, or at least gave voice to part of her feeling like that. It's because I want to get to the uncomfortable truth of, well, if Chris Whittingham is a Dolphin fan, and despite his stance on not wanting Deshaun Watson comes here, will he still buy the AFC Championship hat when Deshaun Watson leads them there? And history would suggest, when it comes to that position, yes, he would. We saw it. These are not all apples to apples. Ben Roethlisberger happened at a different time, not to disassociate from it. I mean, yes, it happened when Jess was in middle school, but her sensibilities now can look back and reflect on Ben Roethlisberger and still feel a little icky, but also still remember how sweet that Super Bowl championship was. 2 of them. Michael Vick. Eagles fans felt strongly about Michael Vick. And then he came in injury relief, and he set the world on fire. And he was awesome. There's a tribalism in sports, and it's not just sport. I talked this out with you guys when I had a friend that went through it. It was a different time 20 years ago with Ric Flair, and that came to public light. And I'm still trying to work it out. I think I'm entitled to be let down by athletes and teams and friends. I still get tweeted at whenever Will Cain does something because I admitted once that he was my friend. You take all these in. It's the human experience. And I think it's easy to disassociate ourselves, and I don't want things to come off as a cop-out. I think these things hang over us when we talk about hypocrisies amongst leagues and as people, that we should actually call them out and discuss them. We should do a better job framing them. I didn't like the optics. I didn't like sitting in it while everyone was turning to Jess, well, what about Ben Roethlisberger? But I'm just looking for guidance. I'm looking for truth.
Well, I think the truth is, and I've said this, and Whittingham's point about, like, you know, how to move forward now that we hopefully have learned something in the wake of Me Too is a good point. And that's what I was trying to get at earlier. But it is a moral conundrum having to root for the Steelers. It's a moral conundrum being someone who was baptized in the Catholic Church. Like, we have to face these moral conundrums all the time. And I'm saying, like, to all of the Dolphins fans in the room, like, trust me, you don't want this. Like, it sucks when you have to grapple with this every time you turn on a game or every time you watch a highlight. Like, you have to think about, oh my God, well, I don't really want to root for that guy, but, you know, I want my team to win. And so, like, we shouldn't have to do that when we watch sports. We don't have to do that. And I'm saying, like, that's where I think, like, we need to ask ourselves why we're okay with doing this constantly over and over and over again. Why can't we just hope or expect some change?
Well, I think we want the decision taken out of our hands. Like, we want the league, the justice system, you know, whatever, so that why do I have to make this decision? I didn't do this. I'm just rooting for a sports team.
So just to deconstruct the whole purpose of why we said, how did you feel with Ben Roethlisberger? That's why, what you just said right there, that's the crux of it all. It's when you said, hey, Dolphins fans, trust me, you don't want none of this. You don't want to have to feel this conflict. That's why at least for me, that's why I asked you, because I wanted to know what's that like. Not as a whataboutism, but as an explanation of This is what the moral
But
conundrum
of
feels
course
like.
she gets defensive,
Oh,
though,
because-
because of what
yeah.
happens to her every time any of these conversations come up. And she's the extra woke woman not letting the boys have their fun, and they can call her.
You're using woke the way that Aaron Rodgers used it. Can we
Well,
stop
I think he's using
that?
it the way that people use it as like a pejorative
As a
on the
slur.
internet.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that that's actually the correct usage.
Yeah, you don't even have to use the word woke there,
Yeah,
just
she's
because
a
she's a
woman.
woman.
And they're objecting to it. And I'm speaking on behalf of what it is that happens to you anytime. This is the difficulty of making your way as a woman still into the locker room where all the boys are and where all the boys have the power and all the boys have the microphones and all, the boys is the demo of the people listening to this and in the stadiums, and it must feel awfully lonely. It must feel unwelcoming. It must feel all the things that can only change if we're more and more aware of them.
Right, and you don't become more aware of them by me just sitting here and eating my oatmeal and drinking my espresso in peace, which is all that I wanted to do this morning.
This is what we should be talking about instead. It's much easier. PJ Tucker, Heat, Bucks says it's a calendar game.
Ooh.
He says he circled it on his calendar. So I want to know what the ranking of the games are. Revenge game, statement game. You guys were telling me is this a Case Keenum revenge game tonight, Mike? You guys, I don't know whether it is or it's not, but I want to know
I don't know who would want revenge more, Case Keenum on the Broncos or the Broncos on Case Keenum, considering how poorly that went.
The rare double revenge game. You don't see those very often, but what is there? Where is a calendar game? PJ Tucker, I don't even understand why PJ Tucker hates the Milwaukee Bucks. Why does he hate them? Basketball expert?
Probably didn't give him enough of a contract offer, and so he had to go somewhere else or didn't want him back, maybe.
This is an uncomfortable conversation for me now because I don't want to betray confidences, but yeah, the exit wasn't clean. The exit wasn't clean, and PJ, part of it is contract driven. But yeah, there is an element of, hey, you, go F yourself.
Anyone have a suggestion for the description for the local hour? Struggling with it today.
An important conversation. I'm glad we had it.
Our editor is Chris Cody.
So you're just sitting there right now, just stewing.
I'm just doing the thing witty. Write this for me. Come here, buddy. This is your thing.
Does our Meadowlark Browns correspondent want to opine on what the first, what the local hour, what the conversation should, how it should be titled?
Well, let's continue to talk it out, I think, because that's where we're getting somewhere with all these conversations. I find this fascinating because we call it out with musicians, right?
Chris just said we get somewhere. He just wants to
We're going somewhere.
No,
We're still in the process.
try
We're
to get
going.
somewhere.
we're getting somewhere.
Make the title "Listen to Hour 1," please. If you listen to this,
We're getting somewhere.
or just tag awful announcing in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talked about this with musicians. At least I do. Like, I agree with Amin. I don't like R. Kelly. I avoid R. Kelly. I'm not playing R. Kelly on touch tunes. Same stance on Michael Jackson. David Bowie, that was one of my favorite artists. And if I go through his past or Prince's past, I'm not going to like what I find. I think hypocrisies are a part of life. What separates a truly moral good person, I think, is taking everything into account and generally trying to do what's best. I don't think Chris Whittingham is a bad person if the Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson. The Dolphins go on to win a Super Bowl because of that trade. Nor do I think Jess is a bad person for speaking truth on Deshaun Watson while being a Steelers fan. I think in today's day and age, we're too quick to jump down someone's throat for just experiencing the human condition. It's trying to boycott Chick-fil-A while tweeting that boycott from your iPhone. There's hypocrisies everywhere.
But Mike, the conversation that we're having, because you're talking about a fundamental humanity, and the reason we're having the conversation is because I haven't heard anyone go as far as the robot made of wires, David Sampson, birthed by the corporate machine, telling you, yeah, I'd play him. Mm-hmm. And there's no human in that. As you're sitting here trying to navigate this, he's telling you in your face, not only does your conundrum on the human condition not matter, you're going to keep paying me because you love you're addicted to what it is I give you. None of you are going to actually make the moral stand. I've got to be honest. I'm not turning off Michael Jackson. I'm not doing it. I'm still listening. Like, in fact, I hear you guys say it, and I'm like, really? It's on the radio, you guys are jumping to turn off R. Kelly? You're doing that.
R. Kelly, yes. Michael Jackson.
I don't think radio stations play R. Kelly anymore.
Okay, but if you get a recommended Spotify playlist of here's some songs you might like and R. Kelly is in it, do you skip it?
Yes.
If the Ignition remix comes on at a bar, are you not gonna?
Are you leaving the bar?
Such a good song.
Okay, so let me say.
Are you leaving the bar? Hypocrite. Are you leaving the bar?
I'm not leaving the bar, but I'm not bopping my head.
Are you toe tapping on your stool?
So for instance, so Kanye is another one for me. I'm out. I'm all the way out on him, and I don't care.
But we're all picking and choosing.
Exactly. But Chris, that was my point. Dan said, "Really, you guys are out on Michael Jackson?" And I'm like, "I'm not out on Michael Jackson." I mean, and it's
and I think the reason why people want to ask Jess about Ben Roethlisberger all the time is because there is a demand from people who are not making these moral decisions to, hey, you want to be, holier than thou? Be an absolutist about it. Get rid of everything. Get rid of your Steelers fans. Get rid of your music. Get rid of your Kevin Spacey movies. Get rid of all of it. If you're going to tell me that I'm a bad person for still liking the Steelers.
But why can't, I really want to understand this, because I am a bit of an absolutist on this. There's business and there's life. There's commerce and there's life. There's art and there's artist. And they're separate. And when I'm watching my sports leagues, find it far easier to not have the corporation with a conscience and a soul, because it's going to be so inconsistent. It cannot get it all right. I mean, the goddamn Catholic Church was doing some of the worst things you could do to children. I don't trust the corporation. One of the reasons that might be my favorite voice in media right now is Russell Brand, of all people, who has just sort of crawled through some shit and really calls out institutions on things.
He's very long-winded.
Well, this is where our governing bodies have failed us, because this does all operate in a gray area. When you can't rely on laws to legislate crimes, especially crimes against women, then you're left having to make a moral decision about what degree of misconduct you're okay with, how much of it, how many accusers do there need to be, because we can't trust that people who actually commit these crimes or are accused of committing these crimes will actually be, tried in a court of law amongst their peers, and they're innocent until proven guilty, and all the Law and Order SVU things that we want to recite. That's just not how the real world works in these cases, which this is why we have to have these difficult discussions all the time to rehash and find whatever degree of okayness you are with any of it.
So two things. One, I thought Whitty made a really interesting point about that, Jess, when he said, we're looking for someone to take the decision out of our hands, right? I don't want to be the judge, jury, and executioner on.
The Texans did it for the NFL.
Right.
The Texans did it for the NFL.
But there also might have been, that might not be a pure of heart decision. I think they're not playing him because he asked for a trade and was kind of leading a public outcry against them before the accusations came out. I think it has more to do. I mean, obviously you have a convenient excuse now, but I don't think if the accusations didn't come out and they couldn't work out a trade, I think Deshaun Watson would be playing right now.
But Amin is getting to truth. Whitty is also getting to truth. Jess was getting to truth. I'm looking to Jess on Ben Roethlisberger so I can collect data to say, well, what do I do here? Mm-hmm. But also, bleep you, I'm an absolutist. It's so fun. Just exploring all of it. It's uncomfortable, though, too.
Chris Cody, why is your face red? Please tell me it's the same reason I think, which is
Mike being the truth arbiter?
Well, I just thought the title to this hour was Getting to Truth.
Well, that's good. No.
You can't handle the truth. I feel like the official town motto of Cleveland should be Cleveland. It's not that bad.
Have I ever told you my Cleveland story, Mike?
You came to Cleveland?
I've been there once for a Sports Illustrated related thing, and wow. Okay, let me tell this story. I'll just start from the beginning. So when I worked for Sports Illustrated, I was working on this show with Charlotte Wilder, who works at Fox Sports now, and we were doing all these different segments where we'd travel to different cities and visit with different sports teams and try to make funny videos with different sports related things. So there was one point where we were trying to figure out something funny that we could do in Cleveland. And the Tribe hot dog people reached out and they said that I don't know if you know this, but the Cleveland baseball team, they have these hot dog mascots and you can rent them to crash your wedding and like surprise the bride or the groom with like a hot dog, like the hot dog suit people crashing your wedding. So one way or another, we got linked up with the Tribe hot dog people and they told us, if you want to, do a video with us, we can have Charlotte dress up as one of the hot dogs and we can all go crash a wedding and like we could get, clearance and you could videotape the whole thing, whatever. So I was producing this video and I was like, well, that sounds like a really funny idea because it's like Charlotte dancing in a hot dog costume. I can't think of anything that would be funnier. Like it's very peak Charlotte Wilder if you know or follow her. So we set this whole thing up. We got like the wedding date. It was September 7th, I want to say, like 2019. We booked the hotels and everything, got our camera people. We went to Cleveland. Charlotte tried on the hot dog costume. We shot all this great like B-roll at the stadium. And so then the Saturday night comes around and there's this beautiful black tie wedding happening at the courthouse in Cleveland. And Charlotte's in her full hot dog apparel. There's ketchup, mustard, and onion. And Charlotte was onion. And so there's just these big hot dogs. And we crash the wedding. They run out onto the dance floor and everyone's like screaming. They're like, oh my God, the hot dogs are here. Like we have this huge, like we shot the shit out of this video. Like it was really funny. Charlotte's in a hot dog suit dancing to like Twist and Shout. Like we're just having a great time. And then like we wrap up. The bride and groom are like crying. They're so happy. We're in all their wedding videos, all the pictures, everything. We signed the guest book. We're like, love the hot dogs. Like Charlotte is onion. Haha. Anyways, we wrap up. We go back to New York. We're, getting ready to like edit this footage. 2 weeks later, Sports Illustrated gets sold and the show is no longer. So I have like 8.
Does this story have an ending?
It's ending right now with the fact that I have 8 hours of video of Charlotte Wilder in a hot dog suit crashing a wedding that has never seen the light of day. So we basically just crashed a wedding as hot dogs for no reason.
No content came out of it. It just cutting room floor.
Yes, just went
just
to a
ended
wedding.
Up going to a wedding as a hot dog.
In
Can
Cleveland.
we use this on LAF YouTube page? 8 hours of
Sounds
footage.
like
Who's editing it?
So you're alleging that this was a huge party. You arrived, you made the wedding. It's what people remember. You crash all the photos.
Well, the bride reached out to me at one point on Instagram and was like, "Oh my God, that was like the most amazing night. You made my wedding like so fun and blah blah blah. And like I'd love to see the footage." And I was like, "Well, I hate to break it to you, this is never going to air because this company was sold like 2 weeks later."
I would love for you to see the footage of how Chris Cody, right behind you, started rolling his eyes at about the 90-second mark of that story.
After like a minute and a half, I thought there was a Jessica Gill joke to be made. That's really all I was doing.
She thought that he thought that you were yammering like Billy, which is not the way that you want to yammer.
I just wanted to make the Jessica Gill joke.
Here you are ganging up on me again. This group of men, I swear to God, I can't say anything around here without you guys getting on my case.
Well, because I'm interested in equality.
Like you never told a story and rambled, Dan.
Oh, for sure.
A meandering anecdote.
Whoa, don't lash out.
I'm lashing.
Don't lash out at me.
You always got the
lashed
Monday
out.
after freedom. The Monday after freedom.
You've
You
always got
just
that
drop
one.
the hammer.
Yes, it's your personal Ben
That show's my
Roethlisberger.
nightmare. That show is my nightmare. Like I sometimes wake up and just have flashes of Dan from that show.
That would be a good grid of death punishment. You have to just sit in the green room without your phone and listen to 4 hours.
Why is he talking about John Skipper again?
Enough with the pepper.
I thought that was a grid of death punishment, that someone had to sit there and listen to all 4 hours of the day after freedom. Was that not a grid of
That's
death
too
punishment?
much. That's too much.
Oh, wow, it's too far. It's a bridge too far.
I think the
would
Geneva
rather-
Convention outlawed that type of behavior.
I would rather go to a wedding dressed as a hot dog, I think, than listen to that.
Put it
Monday
on
after
the
freedom.
poll, please, Chris Cody at Batard Show. What would you rather do? Go to a wedding dressed as a hot dog or listen to the show the day after freedom? In the name of equality, I will turn my attention to punishing others on the show. I am actively rooting tonight for Case Keenum to throw for 200 yards just to Odell Beckham. so that Mike Ryan can go just totally insane, and Case Keenum to just club Vic Fangio and drag the Broncos.
They're just simpatico, Keenum and Odell,
Just
like they've been practicing together for a year and a half.
I want a one-handed catch tonight, like from the Giants game. I want Case Keenum to have the best game he's ever had, and I want Odell Beckham to have the best game he ever had. So Mike would be there and not have any idea what to do with any of it.
As morally conflicted as we were earlier in the show.
Yeah, it's going to if that happens in a win, it's going to feel like a loss given what's headed our way. ESPN Friday news cycle. I hate that the Browns have a standalone game that it's going to be all there for Stephen A to pick apart, and we're just going to dissect this so much that I can't even enjoy tonight.
I was doing my pick'ems last night, and Mike Ryan being in Cleveland, it affected my decision. I was like, yeah, Mike's there. All right, Broncos are definitely gonna win. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's not just Mike. I'm just saying, I feel like whenever you travel for like your team always loses. Not Mike, just in general.
I do have a terrible record when I go travel to games. It's really bad.
I asked Mike when was the last time he saw the Browns win in person. And he was like racking his brain. He's like, it's been more than 10 years. I'm like, you still go on these trips. This is your second trip of the year.
Well,
2008?
2008 was the last time I saw my professional football team win a game in person.
Well, but you've traveled with Miami too and seen a whole bunch of losses as well.
The
correct?
cowboy hats.
Yeah, the last Miami game that I traveled to that they won was 2017, the Langham catch against FSU that ended the streak.
Oh,
It's been a long time.
So what are we rooting for tonight to maximum suffer Mike Ryan?
A
Because
loss. But I will tell you, if Case Keenum balls out and Odell looks like old Odell again, that's going to feel pretty shitty too, as someone that really wants Baker Mayfield to be the guy. That's not going to be great.
I'm rooting for the Muni lot. Just to absorb Mike Ryan, and we have to exhume his corpse from the Muni lot on Friday. Because there's a parking lot outside of the Cleveland Municipal Stadium. What is it? First Energy Stadium. And there's a parking lot there where just absolute carnage happens. Even Jess, a noted Steelers fan, is aware of the carnage that happens in the Muni lot.
The worst place on earth.
Does Muni stand for municipal?
I'm sure they just
Municipal.
drink, right? I mean, they're just drinking. Like, get over yourself.
No,
it's just a parking lot where people tailgate. Every team has one of these.
Debauchery. It
Just 'cause
is
you
the
call it a
seventh
Muni
circle
lot.
of hell.
No, Chris, would you say the Bills Mafia tailgates are just drinking beers?
people are on fire at those. People catch fire.
No, that's the lake.
Man.
It's like Erie.
Man, you don't
team.
remember the video of a Browns fan going to a pee bucket that everybody had been peeing in?
Yes.
And dunking
Oh,
his head
yes.
in?
bucket.
And eating horse.
Dan, a Cleveland fan ate horse poop when the Cavaliers won the
Poop.
NBA Finals. Like, they just ate poop willingly. No one made them do that.
I'm telling you, the game that I'm going to next year, Browns at Bills. I got to see that shit.
Why
in
would you
person.
do that to yourself? The Bills are really
I got
good.
to.
Yeah,
I'm going to take a documentary.
jump through a
crew with me.
table.
I think it's going to be overrated. I think you're going to go there and be like, I think the Miami FSU parking lot is worse. Because the Miami FSU parking lot deserves a shout here. I remember going through it, and I just like imagine tourists in town for the Miami FSU parking lot and going, what in the blue hell is this city?
Guys, the 49ers think that they partied hard before games too. Like, every team kind of has this. Every team has like a section of. Every team has a section of their parking lot that they're like, this is where it's really
the
at.
Zinfandel crew in San Francisco. Like,
I'm
what is
telling
it?
you.
Jeff?
They all own shares in Apple. They can't be partying that hard.
They get after it.
I've been to a lot of tailgates. What Chris is saying is true. I'm sure there are rowdy parts, but I've collected a lot of data. What Chris is saying is absolutely right. I prayed to God for the first time in years after going to that tailgate one year.
For me, my favorite was going as a media member. I'd stay after the game, go to the press conference. I'd leave the stadium about 90 minutes after the end of the game. And you go to the parking lot, and it is genuinely a dump.
Oh,
like it is
East Rutherford,
piles of garbage.
East Rutherford. I was attacked by a buzzard leaving East Rutherford.
The other thing
I've
about the
seen-
Muni lot, Mike, that I need to warn you about is like when you leave the Muni lot to get to the stadium. I don't know if this has changed in the last 2 years, but there's this very narrow walkway to get there. And so it's just a crush of people all traveling in one direction.
Is this worse than the Oakland Coliseum? I've never been to the Oakland Coliseum, but that genuinely looks like walking through prison. because
Yeah.
there's a walkway to get from the parking lot into the stadium.
No,
and
prison
it's-
in hell. Prison
Right,
in hell.
like-
It's
and
not
like-
strong enough.
Isn't there barbed wire on that fence? Like there's like a fence that encases this tunnel. I think it's in the movie Moneyball, and it looks like prison.
Keep in mind, the septic line actually ruptured at the Oakland Coliseum.
yeah.
So people they were actually walking on shit.
Here's all I'll say about tailgates, because I've been to a lot of them across this great land. There's only been 3 times that I've seen people having sex at a tailgate.
Love it.
All 3 times have been at Miami tailgates.
Sorry about that.
I 3 seem like a lot.
Was it you, Mike? Were you the 3
I
times?
thought you were just dancing.
Twice opening a porta potty. People,
Ooh, what an unpleasant place to do
Think of
that.
how horny you have to
where
be.
Oh my
everyone
God.
around,
Put it-
everyone around knew what was happening.
Chris,
and
put it on
once
the poll. At
I will not.
Batard Show. Have you ever been so horny?
Let it sit.
Sit, you said, right?
Nah.
Have you ever been so horny that you would have sex in a porta potty? Because my testosterone's too low. Like, there's nothing that you can't. Are you kidding me? Not even one that hadn't been used by anybody.
You have to reach a different state of existence. You have to just like forget where you are and just.
You guys are lame.
We talking missionary?
Yo. Look this guy.
I mean, were they
I
sitting,
love where we're at.
standing?
Let's stay
like,
right here.
Inside?
Mike, what was the position? Standing?
in the porta potty, I wasn't there with them,
Oh.
but in the car, it was just standard passenger seat. one on
Where's
top.
what's the place where you have to be the horniest to even try this? Is porta
I mean,
potty
this
the
would
top
be
of the
it.
list?
I
Push
can't
through me.
like.
I don't know.
I love the ambient sound of Mike's air conditioning as the backdrop to the discomfort.
Like, I just love Tawdry Chris Cody just prowling all over South Florida. Just a sex machine. I don't understand.
It's a sheen.
Your father has caught you in the garage of his house,
Just
which
dancing, baby.
which is a porta potty. Your father's garage is a porta potty. Like, you get
Is that number one?
I mean, you are disgusting. Like, I can't. And worse than that is walking in on it, because then it's you. It aroused and your ass.
Ginger.
Long,
Long crack.
Drink it in.
I don't
long
know.
crack.
Lack.
Drink it in.
I don't know how people do that. I can't even go to the bathroom in public at a urinal. I get nervous and I just walk away. To actually have sex in public, I get how it could be a thrill. I just could never.
Not sex in public, Mike. Sex in public in a porta potty.
I mean, this is just something that I can't imagine it. It's so foul.
I'll say it. My dick would not be hard. Just being
Thanks
in
for
a
saying it.
Thank you. It's important that you say it.
Color commentary.
Speak your truth, Amin.
Yes, please speak it to the heavens, climb the mountain, let us all hear of the impotence of Amin Al Hassan.
With the power.
I'm coming down like Moses with 2 tablets. Number
It's
one.
not even like
Thou-
not even like I can call bullshit on you. I mean, I
Thou
feel
shalt not get
comfortable doing that.
hard in the porta potty.
Thank you. I mean, we appreciate you, speaking your principles, speaking.
I
your
love this
truth.
segment. This is fun.
Jess here is mortified when she had us having missionary sex in the porta potty.
I'm not mortified. I was laughing so hard that I had to put my head down for a minute. Dan just said it. Dan said so poetically, I wouldn't have the testosterone for that. And Amin goes, my dick wouldn't be hard.
That's right. There it is.
That's right.
This is the only analysis you
from the-
can get here.
From the coughing to the lack of subtlety, Amin is in the Stugotz
It's
chair
just,
today.
yes, it's important that you say it. I mean, thank you for saying it. Thank you for standing up and explaining to us that you don't find it horny at all, and then conjuring the image of your flaccid dick.
Flick.
Get down with that.
I want to go back to why we don't have any submarine movies anymore. Submarine is a cool place, a cool setting for a movie.
We've had a lot of them, though. It's been done.
It's been a while, though.
No, but like, has it been done with modern technology? Like,
I don't think so.
have there been advancements made in submarine technology that we have not chronicled in cinema?
If I go to the submarine lot, the 2021 model, like, is it vastly different from the one like in Crimson Tide?
It's a genre of submarine that has not had any technological advancements. I believe the submarine in every submarine movie we have seen has been an old 1950s submarine. Am I wrong about this? Has there been any? It's give them a ping, Vasily. One ping only, please. It'll be that for the rest of your life. There's nothing. It's how do I avert war? I give them a ping.
You can't tell me that like sonar is still the best way of getting around in a submarine, right? They've got to have like some 3D mapping stuff now.
You'd think. You think
it
there'd be
uses
ways?
sonar.
You think there'd be ways for submarines?
Isn't sonar just like they send out a ping and it vibrates off
Back,
of,
yeah.
you know?
So then we're using radar for navigation? What are you using for navigation?
Sonar
No,
is
so-
sonic radar.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a Chris Cody. A Cody.
Is that really?
I think so.
No.
I might have
Is
made
it
that up.
sonic radar for real?
Sonar. Googling it.
Juju says Tom Hanks 2020 Greyhound. Is that the Apple movie that Tom Hanks had a movie come out on Apple and nobody saw it? How is that possible?
I can't believe that this new Ben Affleck Matt Damon picture is like completely tanked in the box office. How did the two of them make a movie and nobody watch it? How does Tom Hanks make a movie and nobody watches it?
It's covered on Cinephile this week if you are
Hmm.
interested in that movie.
And it got
Also-
decent critical review as well.
Amin El Hassan's on Cinephile.
There you go. That's a plug.
Two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Find out how they deal with each other this week. Cinephile.
So sonar is short for sound navigation and ranging.
Okay, that's
So
not
not
sonic
radar. So not sonic radar.
But I was close.
It's in the ballpark.
I like that. I like that you just made it so.
I had never heard Amin's take on Teen Wolf before I listened to Cinephile this morning.
It's a doozy.
It's an incredible. It's honestly an unassailable argument.
Well, he's made it here. It was one of the first things he did. Wasn't it a Black in My Day?
No,
Wasn't
that was what gave birth to Black in My Day.
Mm.
That was the I told Chris this. That was the first non-basketball thing I said on this show that grew legs.
And if you haven't heard it, check it out on Cinephile.
I love this more confident you now that you've told us you have
Sexual Chris.
Ew.
Sex.
I love
all
the
over.
evolution of my character. From oaf to sex machine.
Let's talk some basketball here with Amin because a lot of it happened last night. A lot of fun basketball last night. But before we do that, I do want to revisit some sound here that we had from earlier in the week. Chris Whittingham, many of you have demanded this. Chris Whittingham is being made uncomfortable by this. But Chris Whittingham, without reading beforehand what he was about to read on air, got caught in the compromising position of, with great discomfort, reading from Urban Dictionary.
A fine, handsome, and sexy-ass intelligent man that makes you smile and drip every time you see him.
That's him defining zaddy,
Zaddy.
according to Urban Dictionary, and we want to do this more often. So do you have something there? I don't want you to vet it, but drip, can we follow drip
Yeah.
to see what it is that you just read there because you don't understand what it is that you just read there? You thought it was, you thought perhaps drip, and it rhymed with lips, that it was about swag. It's about how.
Yeah. I really didn't know what I was doing other than reading because Billy told me to. And so
Dangerous game.
now
Always
I
a
have
dangerous game.
now
He
I've
is-
looked up entries that I think could be better.
Okay, forgive me for this because I think people have heard this part of Billy on air. Billy actively undermines all of you, correct?
He's evil.
His presence alone has made me a worse public speaker, I think. I second guess everything.
And is it just because he's raining down judgment, or he's
Yes.
looking for the one specific window where he
Yes.
can be a bad teammate?
All of the above.
Well, I think it ends up being good for the show. So he's just like, he's figured out that lane. It's the little noises he makes. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of a long ramble and you'll just hear one of these from Billy. And it's just like, you mother. Because it's like, you can hear me. He hears me starting to like lose a little confidence and then just one little noise. And
It's undercutting.
it's an effective noise because I hate it.
He's so good at it.
Nobody does a more judgmental, you're an idiot, than than Billy.
He's like a cat. You know,
He
like
is.
cats, if you have something on the edge, they'll just like nudge it off the edge of the side of the table. That's what Billy is.
A bad teammate.
An evil cat.
But a good producer.
Great producer.
Put it on the poll. What is Billy more of? An evil cat, a bad teammate, or a good producer? Put all of them together, because I'm watching him the entire show, and I'm willing to tell people that not only is he an expert, skilled, sculpted over years at Anarchy, he can do it when he's doing other things, or he's editing. He's not even listening to the show. He just senses that
Is someone
someone
losing
is
confidence?
losing confidence, and he sidles over, and he's like, "Can I interest you in losing some more?" And then he disappears.
He's
goes,
a confidence vampire.
and put that on there as well. Confidence vampire, good producer, confidence vampire.
In the COVID era, it's really interesting because he has a mask on. But Dan, I know what you're talking about because you can see him working and then his eyes just light
You
up.
can see the mischief
Yes.
underneath the mask.
Yes, he's just looking for spots where, with 7 sounds, not even syllables, he could destroy shows, confidence, and our economy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read Drip for us.
Speaking
from
of-
Urban Dictionary, with huge confidence, because there is no Billy Gill here today.
So
You'll play the role, Chris. You'll play the role. All
I'm
right.
on it.
Billy's understudy.
All
Today in the role of Billy. All right, so I said drip in one context, but I found the drip in the other context. So I think we're okay here. So the Urban Dictionary definition for drip is adjective to describe your outfit, similar to swag, sauce, steez, swank. In a sentence, drip main. Main, my outfit is dripping right now. Friend, your outfit, wet ASF.
Sequel never is good.
Is Zion fat? I mean,
Did you see the Mountain Dew commercial?
yes, I saw. I thought it was photoshopped or something. He's sitting there playing a video game, and it looks like he has folds of fat.
I'm sorry. Chris said ASF.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Click on it. Read the definition.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, now I got to click on wet ASF. Oh no, I can't read this.
No,
I can't read
You
this.
can read ASF. Look up
No.
ASF. Just look up
He
ASF.
can't read that.
What?
I can't read this. I can't read wet ASF.
No, not wet ASF.
Oh.
Just ASF.
All right, I'm on it.
Because I can explain it,
It's
but
as
it's funnier.
no, is what I assumed it was.
So
Like Lebitard AF.
Yes.
Like laugh.
Well-
but the kids have now added the S.
I'm seeing and so forth, but that can't
No,
possibly
no.
be right.
So it's exactly what you said. It's as bleep. They also do ASL, which is as hell.
Jesus,
Yeah, the kids are
what are the kids doing?
the kids are
Is Zion fat?
Have you seen the Mountain Dew commercial? I want everyone listening to this podcast right now just to hit pause, go to YouTube, search Zach Levine, Zion Williamson commercial. It's a commercial. I don't even know it's a Mountain Dew commercial, but they're playing 2K and they're supposed to be playing against each other, and the announcer on the game is kind of trash talking them. And it's a very light and content, commercial. But the problem is you've got Zion sitting on a couch playing video games with a big Mountain Dew and a bowl of chips. And he looks fat ASF, ladies and gentlemen. He's fat. Like it's not, oh, he looks husky. Oh, he's put on some weight. He looks like a fat guy. He looks like a fat guy. I was going to name someone, and then I thought that would be inappropriate.
Just to be clear, Whittingham, so you have it, I'm wet, and so forth.
That's correct.
The Knicks Celtics game last night.
I also have an alternate definition for drip as well, if you'd like it. When your bling is iced out, but that shit melting from all your hot bars, you got the drip. Just another word for immense swag. In context, guy 1, yo, that new rapper got the drip. Guy 2, for real, yo, he drippin'.
The cringe you heard far, far away from the mic is Tony, and he's in Utah today. He's not even anywhere around the show.
I'm looking at this picture. I don't see fat. I think he looks fine.
Chris.
I think
Chris.
Zach Levine looks a little thin, if you ask me.
What? He looks like a
He
basketball
looks frail.
player.
He looks frail. Put a little meat on those
I
bones.
mean, like the neck has just so much density to it. It juts out his neck.
Let me see your neck. Yeah. Shut up.
Wow. Aggressive
this.
sexual.
I don't like this fat
Chris.
shaming.
Well, I want to get into some.
I'm not a professional basketball
neck is
player.
Neck
fat.
strength is important.
Mhm.
Ask any F1 driver.
Jonah Hill is giving voice to what Chris Cody is saying. I know you mean well, but I kindly ask that you not comment on my body, good or bad. I want to politely let you know it's not helpful and doesn't feel good. Much respect. Quit body shaming Chris Cody and me and Jonah Hill and Zion Williams.
Let Zion live.
I'm not gonna stop with Zion. I'm not gonna stop. This is a guy who's had a history of lower extremity injuries. The foot through the shoe at Duke. The meniscus his rookie year. Now the broken foot. You can't tell me his weight isn't a factor in that. He is not in good shape. And don't tell me because he broke his foot, he can't do cardio. There's 8 million different things you can do as a pro athlete. They've got this thing called the Alter G, where it inflates and it takes your body weight off so you can get your cardio in. He can swim. He can do underwater exercises. Hell, he can do the little aerobic thing where you do small circles with your arms. He's not doing any of that. And I don't believe he's eating well either. I think he eats like crap. And look, he's so talented and so good. If he were just a regular player, we'd just make the joke and keep it moving. But the problem is we know he's so good. He's the only player, I believe, in NBA history to have a season like last year where he averaged 25-plus points per game and 60% plus from the field. Not Shaq, not Wilt. None of those guys did that. And yet, he might eat himself into a mediocre career.
I grapple so much with how we talk about athletes' bodies because on the one hand, yes, like they're an athlete and their physical shape impacts what they do and how much money they make and how successful they are. But on the other hand, it's not the way that we would talk about anyone else and the decisions that they make about what they eat and how much they work out.
You know what? I'm in an area of expertise here. Okay.
Preach.
Like, don't take this away from me. If I want to make fun of a male athlete's body, just let me have it. Okay. Just let me.
You
like,
can have.
please,
I'm just saying.
let me have it.
I feel like this is such a weird territory. Like I don't want to comment on it. I don't want to say something that goes too far. Like it makes me uncomfortable.
Do you know why this is a safe space to do that for athletes and not for anything else? Because it's not cosmetic. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about functionality.
Your ability to do your job.
Your ability to do your job. Your ability to stay
we get on
healthy.
Stugotz for ripping heaters and coughing up a lung every time he sits down in the chair because it is his instrument with which he does his job.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not comfortable throat shaming Stugotz today. You know?
How's your cuppa? Is it getting better?
Yes, it works, man. It's crazy. This thing actually works.
Chris Cody, how was NBA Countdown last night? Or as Stephen A. Smith wrote on Twitter, CLUNTDIWN was about to get started. And you guys have seen this around here. I know Mike Ryan and Chris Whittingham are exceedingly patient with the Bob Costases and the Stephen A. Smiths and the me because we don't understand the technology and we fiddle around. But when Stephen A. Smith, his eyesight or something, you cannot spell countdown more dangerously than that or more poorly than that. And that's how he got you excited for the season. Join us on NBA CLUNTDIWN.
Let's all practice saying. Let's all try saying it.
Don't do it. Dangerous game.
Did you guys see the Greenie moment last night on Countdown? That was the best part.
He was so happy to see Julius Randle that he forgot he was live on television. And I've seen this from Greenie by a poolside with Ronaldo and his entire family. Greenie gets starstruck. And so he was just thrilled that Julius Randle was shaking his hand and forgot he was on air.
Well, there was that moment of, is he going to shake my hand? Because he was very happy to see Wilbon, Jalen Rose, Stephen A. And then there was like this awkward, hey, I'll give you a little dap too. And then it was just 20 seconds of Greenie fiddling with his papers and Stephen A. looking all like Stephen A. knew he was on the entire time. And then finally, like, Greenie, we're live, brother.
Now, this is just my opinion. Now, I haven't talked to anybody.
That's what he
Now, I don't know anything.
Oh, we're live? Oh, all right, we're live. Back better than ever.
Back and better than ever.
I have not heard enough of your Mike Greenberg because you have seen what happened here, right? He was for 30 seconds. He was he was live on air and didn't know, and he's very good at that. Like that was a bit stunning to see because Mike Greenberg tends to be pretty perfect television. While, you might not get a lot from it that is dangerous or polarizing, it's polished.
Dan, let me tell you right now, out of the studio is a different game. The studio is comfortable. Oh, we have a guest. Oh, it's Roger Goodell. Yeah, back and better than ever. That's all cool. You go out there in the wild, and Spike Lee's walking this way, and Dustin Hoffman is walking that way, and Jon Stewart, and here comes Julius Randle. Is he gonna say, "Hey, what's up" to me? Does he even know who I am? Man, you got to be cool in those moments.
I feel bad for whoever produced that because I just felt like the vibe that Greeny gave off once he realized he was back on was, I am livid that somebody let me be.
No,
I don't know, man. I could see him.
No, man. That's on him. You out there you always on. When you're out there in the wild, you're always on. Look, hey man, Michael B. Jordan walked up to me. You think I turned into a little fanboy? No, man. I was like, hey, what's up, man?
Hardened media professional, Amin El Hassan.
Outside the studio, because we've done so many shows live from location, the jump, hoop stream,
outside the queue,
and plus I'm standing usually next to somebody who's very popular, right? Either Rachel Nichols or Kendrick Perkins or Tracy McGrady. People come and seek these people out, right? Like Snoop Dogg comes up, hey, what's up, man?
Well, and courtside with J. Cole, right? Like that's happening there too. You're not allowed in that circle if you're going to be a dope.
Maybe Amin should host Clunt Dwin.
Oh man, that's a dream.
Whoa, gotta be careful with that word. I love how Amin El Hassan just made on the court at MSG, where when he was there, he saw a rat and all of his sports dreams came apart.
My Nick dreams, not my sports dreams.
You have made it this outback wilderness featured only in National Geographic that we get precious photos of. The wild out here in the wild, that Mike Greenberg has been working in the antiseptic air-conditioned space of Bristol for a long time, but now he's really in the game and he's in the wild. And you know what he is in the wild? A meatloaf. He's there for other things to prey on him, like Julius Randle coming to shake his hand. And hey, over there, that's Dustin Hoffman. I haven't seen him in 12 years in anything.
It's like the Australian outback, right? Like you're in Sydney. Oh, you might see like a kangaroo. Oh, that's cute. You go in the outback, you're seeing all the crazy spiders and snakes that can kill you by just looking at you and stuff like that. That's what it's like.
He's trying to match the suave of Ernie Johnson on the TNT studio. They're trying to meet the TNT level. And Greeny on day one is getting fired up about seeing Julius Randle on television.
You realize, and this is, I don't know whether people are interested in this, but inside the business, sometimes people are hugely interested in inside the business. Amin can speak to this part of it, right? You have opposite you on TNT a freewheeling show that represents the standard across the industry for how you do a studio show, the fun you're supposed to have. It's been successful for many years. Wonderful partnership, has helped grow the league, has helped grow that show. ESPN has been trying that entire time to give David Stern before Adam Silver and Adam Silver a show that doesn't resonate like that one, that comes within the neighborhood. And they've changed people again and again and again. And now they're going to the old formula. And I'm assuming this is Stephen A. Smith's doing, although I don't know it, but he's accruing legitimate power there. Mm-hmm. Magic Johnson, Mike Wilbon, one incarnation of this already was changed once. And now we're betting on the answer to all things ratings being Stephen A. We'll put Stephen A. on it. And he is, and I don't know whether he's chosen Mike Greenberg or not, but Mike Greenberg is the guy. And now they're trying to put together the show that they couldn't with Paul Pierce, with any number of people they've tried to put it with. It's never worked, and the league's never been happy with it. The league has never looked at that show and said, man, we're doing excellent here, because the standard is too hard to reach. It's Barkley, and no one comes close.
What TNT did, what TNT has, it's not unlike a lot of these basketball teams. You build it. Oh, if I get this guy and that guy, now we're going to win a championship. It's chemistry. Plain and simple. Chemistry. The reason why ESPN fails in that way is because chemistry is not something that's valued there. They think we're all replaceable. It's all plug and play, in, out, in, out. And Turner has a show that started in 1997 or something like that with Ernie and Kenny. And then Barkley retires a couple years later, and then they add Barkley. And then they go however many years, and then Shaq retires, and they add Shaq.
And they love each other, and they all legitimately
Absolutely.
like they're friends across the decades, and they deeply, deeply care about each other.
And I've been in that green room with them. I've seen them.
It's fun.
It's fun. The conversations are going on, right? There's a genuine, like you said, a affability between all of these people.
It's the locker room. The
locker
They
room.
have found in retirement what athletes are always looking for, because the loneliest thing is that you don't have the camaraderie of the guys in the crew. In retirement, they found, as far as I can tell, the closest thing I've seen to fill that void, where they're screwing around and enjoying each other's company so much, just being the boys, that they don't have. Barkley's almost 60, man. He's almost 60.
You know what's funny is it doesn't just stop at them. So when I went into their green room, this was All-Star Weekend in Chicago. Candace Parker's in there. Like the next string.
Dwayne Wade.
Wade's in
they
there.
welcome in people. It's not
Let's
not protecting it. Look, man, you saw what happened with Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor. It's not protecting turf. They welcome Shaq in.
Yep.
Barkley didn't have to do that. Shaq's a monster star who mutters and mumbles and is too sensitive. Like, I'm guessing that
Stop it.
I'm guessing that
Stop it.
Shaq and Barkley have had legitimate beef where Barkley doesn't care that he's upsetting Shaq because Barkley's a slave to the content.
But that second crew has Tuesdays. Like, the conversation might be different if there was only Thursdays and Shaq was all of a sudden, getting replaced by Wade every other Thursday. I'm sure Shaq wouldn't be a great team player then.
Well, I think my point is that those guys, the second string people, Lefko, Candace Parker, Dwayne Wade, they're in that room too. They're there, and they're allowed to soak all of that in, right? Lefko's not just trying to do an Ernie Johnson impression. He's able to sit there with him, and he said it on the show here, right? I watch him take notes. I ask him about everything he does.
But Ernie is also very kind about sharing
Sure.
what they all are. But you know this. Not everyone in this industry fraught with vanities, insecurities, frailties, property, turf protection. I don't need to explain to you how rare what they have is, that Ernie Johnson, of course, welcomes in Lefko, that Barkley welcomes in Shaquille O'Neal, that they're not threatened by a new breed of young person.
It's, you know what that is? And this should get everyone titillated here. Culture. That's what when people talk about culture, that's culture. So when I was in grad school, did a case study about Toyota has a plant in, I believe, Ohio or somewhere. And its productivity is off the charts, right? They give tours of that plant. They give tours of that plant to people from General Motors and Chrysler and Ford. And someone asked, like the VP said, oh, wait a second, aren't you guys worried about them stealing the secrets and basically replicating what you guys are doing? It's like, oh no, we'll give you our operations manual. You can't do it. You know why? Because you guys don't have the culture to do it. Even if you tried, even if we gave you the playbook, you can't do it because you don't have all those things that you just named.
Well, it's a production that basically it's built to accentuate personalities, right? Brian Curtis of The Ringer did a really interesting piece about the ESPN halftime show during the finals last year, where basically it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds of content. Every pundit on that studio show gets like 1 point, and then they're done for halftime. And TNT, like the way that they do it, they do like an 8-minute segment and then like 2 30-minute segments and get all the commercials in, but there's room to breathe. And there's no rundown that we're not going rundown to rundown, point to point to point. It's, hey guys, you guys talk and we'll figure it out around you. It's a platform to accentuate personalities.
I have had this conversation with Colin Cowherd, and he agreed with me on this, that Fox is basketball, empowering its stars, and ESPN is football. All of these bodies are interchangeable, except for a couple of quarterbacks, and we don't want any of them to be too much more famous than the letters. The letters are what matter, and TNT has emboldened its stars, and that culture is what you get when confident, creative people are put in charge and allowed to be a little bit free. You get creative freedom, you get people who love each other, you get some of the things that I believe we have around here in our crew that brought Amin to us because he wanted to escape the clutches of some of that other stuff that feels silly when you're in a creative environment. Like, you should be able to play in a creative. I've always marveled at, like, why doesn't ESPN have more fun? What Arlovsky and Mina and Swagoo, what they're doing with that show is so goddamn fun. So fun.
It's great.
And-
I love watching it.
And you learn so much. Like, Arlovsky and Ryan Clark are dancing. They're making music when they're breaking down 3 minutes of film for you, and Arlovsky is teaching you. Like, they all teach you something. But Arlovsky is, I'm watching, and in the middle of them dancing, making music, interacting with the screen, loving football, both of them, Arlovsky's like, and here you see in the middle of the field, the wide receiver comes open on a button hook. And Arlovsky explains, and now the quarterback will hit him in the right shoulder or the left shoulder to tell him which way to break because he can see the safety behind him and the receiver can't. So the way the ball is thrown 10, 15 yards away, he's throwing it to a shoulder because they need 6 yards on 3rd and 5, and he's telling his wide receiver by where the throw is, turn to your left, your safety is angled over to the right. They're doing that all the time.
But it's not even like their analysis is obviously great, but it's them having fun with each other
Chemistry.
too. That is the special sauce that I think why that NFL Live is so good.
So we're saying that ESPN is capable of doing this. This can happen. It's not, you got to like hit on all your draft picks though, essentially. Laura Rutledge is a tremendous host. Dan Orlovsky's a great analyst. Ryan Clark, Swagoo brings personality. Like, they've got exactly the right mix. I would also say ESPN found this with College Game Day. Like, so it's there. The formula is there. You just kind of have to, but as you said, right? It's about who is there to create the culture, right?
And
clearly on that
preserve.
show, they've created a culture. Laura Rutledge preserves it. On College Game Day, everyone is a steward of their culture. But it's not that easy. You've got to find the right mix of people. And that's why they keep recycling people to try and find them.
Does Stephen A need to be more self-deprecating? Is that it? Does Stephen A not
To be
give
fair,
off?
I mean, he's had one show.
No, but my point
let's
is
give
just-
this edition a chance.
But is he, because, around here, whenever someone comes in and you're like, we can't make fun of that person, that like makes it like the vibe differently. I just feel like we're talking about all these shows, Game Day, TNT, and the NFL Live show. They all have fun with each other. They give each other crap. Maybe that's,
Yeah, that's been a key part of CBS's coverage of the UEFA Champions League has been excellent for exactly this reason. I think they kind of studied the inside the NBA playbook, which is all of our pundits have to make fun of each other. We need to build creative bits around it, and it's tremendous television.
But Stephen A. vehicles tend to be Stephen A. vehicles.
Mhm.
Like, he just ran off a pretty decent teammate by his own admission. He and Skip played well. They were good teammates together at making television. But every other space, for how long now? Since Skip left, couldn't you say that Stephen A. has been the star of his own show with every step that he takes? And I believe now they're saying First Take is going to be a Stephen A. Smith vehicle. And I'm guessing if you've already done Wilbon and Magic and it didn't work, you don't think Greenberg's the thing that's going to save that. You've, across 20 years, tried to make something that pleases the league that never has. Stephen A.'s answer, not unlike Trump, the answer to what is the question is, this needs more Trump. This needs more Stephen A.
I'm already regretting saying Stephen A is the problem. I mean,
He's not. I don't think he's the problem. Obviously, this show just started, so we can't call it a problem or not. But to go back to all those shows you guys named, when I said preserves it, you said Laura Rutledge. Laura does a great job, but I'm not talking about any of the talent. There's got to be a producer who preserves it in the same way that Highly Questionable was what it was because there was a producer.
Well, Wilbon and Kornheiser's relationship, It's a relationship show. Everything that was born of that, the producer of Pardon the Interruption, Eric Rydholm, and his right-hand man, Matt Kelleher, they said all of this is about the relationship.
Yep.
Everything else comes next. What matters first is the relationship, and the one that Wilbon and Kornheiser have is authentic. They love each other, they hate each other, they argue with each other, and you can see it, you can feel it, and it crosses through your television. Television's phony, man. We've been talking about A-Rod as a morning show host. Television is phony. People can sniff out authentic, and they like it.
Amin brings up a good point, though. Producers make a show. That's right.
Yeah,
That is a good point.
Hey, man, I'm glad you said it.
They
I'm
do it
glad you
all.
said it.
Producers.
Producers.